can see, I'm in my car. That's what keeps me warm. Is this?
Imagine living in a car just to make your dream come true. Today is the story of a young Zimbabwean man who's living in his car just so that he can relocate back to Zimbabwe and reunite with his family. Hi, Evander. Thanks for joining me for this call. You know, last time you joined onto the Ruwa Organic Live, you had a fantastic story,
Yes.
and I really wanted to make sure that I have an interview with you so we can get to know more
Mm.
about why you decided to live in a van. So before you go into
Oh
that, I know
man.
I'm eager to find out all this
Yeah.
information, but before we go into that, please tell me a bit about yourself.
Okay, cool. So I came to the UK in 2005. First of all, my name is Zibanda, and thank you so much for inviting me to this podcast. I'm really honored. I'm
Uh,
privileged. I'm excited.
cool.
I'm bummed. Honestly speaking, I'm also a bit, I can't believe I'm talking to you, man. I've been watching your channel. So anyways, coming to introduce myself. So I came to the
Mhm,
UK in 2005, with my parents came here first. I came after. And, just like I think most Zimbabweans, we came here with a dream. You know, we've been sold the dream, come to the UK and all your problems are going to be sorted. There's money on trees. You understand? Money, so money grows on trees, and that was the dream. And, when we came to the UK, of course, reality hit and we realized, things are tough. And
mhm,
in fact, I think my life was a lot more scarier in Zimbabwe than it was in the UK. But I mean, coming forth, you know, you then now you come with your parents bring you here, and then you now have to start your family. And then you realize that the ball is in your court. And you then realize that things are tough. So I have been going to Zimbabwe from 2018, I've been going to Zimbabwe quite a lot. And every time I
mhm,
came to Zimbabwe, I'll see so much opportunities and ask questions. Why do we not have these type of businesses here? Why don't we have certain shops? Why don't we have certain experiences? You always ask me why, and every why there's an opportunity. So
mhm,
when COVID came, everything was just clear. I had an e-commerce business. It was doing okay. And I thought to myself, actually, I've got two young children. What do we want we wanted this for them. And I thought the UK wouldn't offer what we want and the models that were in place to them. And that's when we decided, to move back to Zimbabwe in 2021. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you decided to move back in
2021.
2021. At that point,
Yeah.
were you all set up? I mean, did you have all your plans in place when you decided to go back? And yeah, can you elaborate on that?
So, to be honest with you, I'm a person that, I learn on the go. I think that I don't know if it's a strength or a weakness, but one thing I would say is I knew what I wanted was to go back home. That was
Mhm,
one of the ticks. I knew that, um, I already pre-visited. I was watching videos like what we're doing on moving
mhm,
back to Zimbabwe, but there wasn't so much information. And I already knew that I didn't have to have a big income to sustain my family in Zimbabwe, because things are a lot more cheaper. So
mhm,
that was the first thing. And I love agriculture. So I already knew that it should be in line with agriculture, around food agriculture. So when I moved back, um, that was the first project that I tried was actually chickens and, guinea fowls.
mhm,
So I
mhm,
put money
mhm.
aside for those projects. Yeah. Yeah. So that's when
So,
yeah.
so before we go into your life in Zimbabwe when you moved back, I mean, what were you
Yeah.
doing here in the UK, and how were
Mhm.
you able to save up enough for you to say, you know what, I'm done with the UK, I'm going to now
Yeah.
settle in Zimbabwe?
So I'll say so. I've been doing this for about 9 years. So I've been doing e-commerce. So I've always been selling on eBay, Amazon. I've
Ah,
always loved that. Something I fell in love with until today. I do it, and so I've always been entrepreneur. I'm dyslexic, first of all. I'm dyslexic, so
okay.
I've always struggled at school. and something always
Mhm.
got into trouble in Zimbabwe because I was always seemed to be, they always said, oh, this guy doesn't learn, he's ignorant, he's dumb, stupid. So when I came to the
Mm.
UK, when I came to the UK, I did a dyslexic test and it just made a lot of sense. I've always struggled with reading. I've always struggled, with maths and all those things. But at the same time, a lot of people always saw that I wasn't dumb. I was always good at other things.
Mhm.
So out of all my siblings, my brother does physics. My sister, she did, what you call it. She studied when it comes to, mental health and all those things. So like she's, all my siblings are very, very academic. I was the only one that was not gifted with academic, but I was always gifted with entrepreneurship. Very good
Mhm.
with, very good at people skills as a salesman. I was also very good at business. So I think my view, everything was kind of narrowed to where my choices were narrowed. I have to become an entrepreneur to become successful. I can't be a doctor, right?
Mm.
So, and I saw opportunities on eBay. I think the first thing I ever saw in my life was, a tool from TK Maxx. I went to TK Maxx and I just thought, you know what? Let me see what happens if I sell this item. And within the first couple of hours, it sold just like that. And that was a spark in my head. That was a spark in my head. And from there,
Wow.
um, it was always try and error. I've made big mistakes, but like, I've always been on, e-com. So that's where I made my money. But at the same time, I've always been working. I've always been an employee. I've always worked. But I've
Mhm.
always treated, my e-commerce as a sideline business. So,
Fantastic. I'm
mm,
really excited. I mean, talking to you here because I mean
yeah,
we've never met before.
yeah,
This is our first time really having a conversation. But
yeah,
you actually finding these opportunities where you have your 9 to 5, but for you to
mm,
make a bit of extra money, you found an opportunity in e-commerce. So this is what
yeah,
sometimes I always say to people. Sometimes the 9 to 5 money is not enough. And here in the UK,
yeah,
there's many opportunities. Now, imagine what you
yeah,
just mentioned right now. It's something that anyone can do. You go to TK Maxx, for example, you buy a product, and then you put it on eBay, and then you sell
yeah,
it for a profit. I mean,
yeah,
fantastic. I really love that. So you're saying
yeah,
that that's what really helped for you to move back home in 2021. Is that correct?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
2021, right? Yes.
2021, yes.
Okay. So
Yeah. So
now,
yeah,
So my question now is, you're back now in the UK, right? You're living off a
yeah,
van. What
yeah.
happened?
I mean, I would say the life lessons. I mean, first of all, I think it was the naiveness of I can change Zimbabwe. I can. I'm going to go there and start a successful business. I mean, as entrepreneurs, we take gambles and we take risks. You
Yes.
know, I think you we don't play games, play the safe game. If I wanted to play the safe game, I would have used my money wisely, my savings, and just took day by day. But I decided to start projects. I decided to, like you said, buy loads of chickens for incubators, for guinea fowls. And the same way I think people have experienced is that the dishonesty, the theft, um, and also, it's just all those things where it drags you down. Even like
Mhm.
I put a lot of money into like, refurbing, helping my parents. I mean, my mom had bought a house, so I did a lot of refurbing, but in that, he had
Mhm.
loads of guys that came and do jobs and we had to keep paying over this to do the same job. Imagine paying 10 people because the other one didn't do the job properly. So there's a lot of mistakes, things that
Mhm.
happen. Being sold a car, that, you know, that broke down and it gave us challenges, but we put so much money into that car. So we end up putting money back into it because trying to sell it because now it's worthless. So, you can imagine all those mistakes because you look at somebody in the eye and they telling you this is the product and you believe in it. And then suddenly 5 days later, you realize that it was all a con, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it was just areas like that where I've made so much mistakes. you know,
Hmm.
and it was me jumping, and I got an amazing wife. She was always there with me, even though I made those big jumps, the big mistakes,
Hmm.
So I already knew that if I was going to wait a bit longer, I
Hmm.
would have been, we would have been completely broke. So I say to my wife, this was now 2022 when I came back to the UK. I say, you
Hmm.
know what? Let me go back to the UK while we still have money, while we still have finances, and then I can build myself up. I'll get a job and then build ourselves up. So that's what I've done so far. But then I got like everybody does. You get a bedroom, you rent, okay, and then you realize by the time the taxes take your money, by the time you eat your food, you left with not much. So I'm sending back home a little bit of money, and it's inefficient because we want to be back together as a family. So that's when the big idea came. Uh, Evander,
Okay.
Evander can't be paying rent anymore. Evander-
Wow. That's a
yeah,
bold
yeah,
move. That's a bold move, to be honest. I mean, at
yeah,
first,
yeah,
now
yeah,
I'll tell you my reaction
yeah,
when I first heard that. When you first called into the show, my first
yeah,
reaction wasn't necessarily like something that I looked down on. It was
yeah,
more like, wow, this is genius. Because correct me
yeah.
if I'm wrong, you're in London, right?
Yes, in
Yes.
London.
So London rentals can be really expensive. So I thought to myself,
Yeah,
wow, this guy is really smart. I mean, that's why I really wanted to hear your story. So tell me,
yeah,
you decide now you want to live in the van because Evander cannot be paying rent. Okay, so take me through
yeah,
that thought process. I mean, what are you
yeah.
thinking at that point? How are you going to make it happen
So
at
you know
that
what?
point? What
First
were
of
you
all,
thinking?
so what I was thinking is, in fact, I had a car parked by a friend's house. My car. I bought a car in 2021 as well. I was thinking I'm going to send this car back home. This car is parked. It's not insured. It's not road tax, and it's sitting there. And I'm thinking to myself, I remember like watching a video online, and this there's a guy that was living in his car. In fact, it came up as how I cook shrimps in my car, and I was like, "What?" And I checked the video, and actually, he's been living in his car as a nurse in America. And you must remember,
Mm,
in the UK, in America, nurses earn a very good wage. So I was like, "This guy is a nurse in America. He doesn't look like a homeless guy. He's educated. He's eating, and he's living in his car." And I thought, wait a minute, I got my car parked somewhere, swarmed. So it's been swarmed. It's
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
in a private parking. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, and I'm sitting in my house, in my room, and I'm thinking, I'm paying 800. I'm only able to cover the expenses in Zim, but I want to move back to Zim. So what is the best way for me to cover the gap? And that's when
Hmm.
the idea actually sparked. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get my car back on the road. So I did that. And then, I parked, in fact, I tell you the location where the first time I parked my car was in Stratford. So I bought a month parking. The
Hmm.
month parking was like 150 pounds. So I parked my car there and I'll go to work. After work, I'll go to the car and sit there for 4 hours, 4 hours, just to imagine myself staying in the car, just putting myself in that mindset. And so I would
Wow.
literally just picture me walking from work, going into a car park, and just imagine myself staying in this car. And it took me 2 weeks to get that courage. And I went and told my landlord, in fact, I had a very good relationship with my landlord, pay my bills in time, and we also have small talk once in a while. And she asked me, why are you leaving? And I said, well, to be honest with you, I'm going to be leaving my car. And the same reaction you had, her eyes open. And she goes, what? Are you okay? Are you okay? She said,
Yeah.
is there anything we can do to help you? I mean, we can let you stay a bit longer and you don't have to worry. I said, no, no, no. It's a decision I've made. And at that time, I already knew in my heart. that it was the right time and the right decision. And
Mm.
honestly speaking, I don't regret it whatsoever till today. I've experienced a lot in that. In Stratford, the first place was in Stratford. And man, the things that you experience in the car park, it shows. Don't tell you're serious and don't talk secrets in the car park because you never know. Someone could be sleeping and listening to that.
That is
You know?
crazy. Wow. But you know
Yeah,
what? I
yeah,
want to take a moment. I want to take a moment and talk
yeah,
about your
yeah,
mindset. Okay, because
yeah,
sometimes when one makes a serious decision, people
yeah,
often think that it's craziness. I'll give you a very good example. I know I'm going to
yeah.
make this a little bit about me for a little bit, but you know, when I decided
Okay.
to go back to Zimbabwe, people thought I was
Yeah,
crazy because
yeah.
everyone wants to come to the UK, and here I am wanting to go back. And now you're telling me you went back, things didn't work
Mm,
out. Now you're
yeah,
back, and you're going to make things work to go back to
yeah,
Zimbabwe. That is
yeah.
amazing.
Definitely.
That
I
is
mean,
amazing.
no, it's all true. And the thing is that I think people like you as
Mhm,
well, and there has to be people who are decision makers
mhm,
and people who are risk takers. Yeah. So when you look at the Wright brothers, and they were telling people that they're going to get this plane, this metal object, to float in the sky, and take people, you know, people thought they were crazy, and
mhm,
now today we got this thing called an aeroplane that, we used across the world, in a matter of
mhm,
time. But it took those people with that mindset to decide they're going to make this work. And I think life is about making decisions. And if you don't make decisions, somebody else will, and
mhm,
I feel like the fact that you took the gamble to go to them and I made it the gamble to take to go to them, it just shows the mindset of number one, a vision seer. You see vision and we're risk takers. Are we going
mhm,
to make mistakes? Yes. But who doesn't? And it's that journey. I think it's the process that builds people. And, I've learned a lot, living in
mhm.
the car. Number one, about myself. Number two, how to protect your mental state, your mental health state. You
Mhm,
know,
mhm.
it's also taught me to be disciplined,
Yep.
something that you
Yep.
have to be routine. It's something where something like this, which are my keys,
Mhm.
can disappear just like that in my car because I put it in the wrong
Wow.
place and you can spend an hour looking for that. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I've learned how to channel things, how to be, I've learned how to look for things. And I think that it's gratitude as well. You know,
Mhm.
um, I don't, in fact, I don't even see myself as homeless. I don't. If
So,
any in my head, I don't see that. Yeah.
no, no, no. I don't see that too. But you also
Mm,
have to
mm,
be. We have to be also honest and say, usually when you hear that people are
yeah.
living in their cars, it's mostly
Yeah.
associated with the news from America that rentals are high and people are living in their
Mm,
house because mainly they're struggling. And this is
yeah.
what makes your story unique because you're
Yeah.
saying you're not struggling, but you've
Yeah.
got a vision, you've got a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
This what makes it
Definitely.
really interesting. So tell me something.
Definitely.
You're doing this now. Do any family members know this?
So yes and no. Family members know for sure, but I've given
Uh-huh.
nuggets to certain people that understand what I'm doing. Especially now, it's getting easier for me to tell people because I've already made the decision. But there's people
Mhm,
that I didn't tell because I already knew they would have persuaded me not to. You understand
mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's the same way when I decided to move to Zimbabwe, I had family members that told me not to. I already know myself. If I decide I'll do something, I will. But at the same
Mhm,
time, you will have the back of a back of your head. You'll have that negative, So I did tell the core people that I know will support me with that, like my mom, my dad, my wife, of course, and then from there it trickled slowly. Okay.
mhm,
And then it led me to posting a video online, a YouTube video of me deciding to make that. And that actually got a couple of thousand views, which was nice. It was nice to see and a lot of supporting
mhm,
comments on that. But yeah, I did tell this, but when now it comes to work, I don't tell my colleagues. My colleagues don't know. I got colleagues that don't know. They didn't know I'm on YouTube. They don't know much about my life, but it's just because I know who will support and who won't. You know, understand what I'm saying?
Right, right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right. So
mm,
obviously, the question now
mm,
comes:
yeah,
you're going to need to shower. Okay, how do you
yeah.
take care of that?
So the funny, so let me ask. So you know, the day when you had the live chats,
Yep.
I joined I go to 24-hour gym. So that's my place. So I actually called you, and then I went from the live chat. I was listening to your live chat at the gym at midnight, man. You're hardcore, you know. This is midnight.
Yep.
I'm at the gym not because I just want to work out, it's because I was on a bit of warmer. So I was at the gym and I sat down, relaxed, and I watched the video. It was amazing, and then from there I sat in the car. And I then that's when we engaged on your live chat. But yes, I go to the gym, 24-hour gym. That's my shower. I go twice a day. A dedicated gym goer. And they probably think this guy is very dedicated, but no, I'm going for a shower. I'm going for a shower.
Wow, Ivana, your
Yeah,
story is really, really amazing. It just shows that
yeah, yeah,
if you have
yeah,
goals in life
yeah,
and they're clear, there is
yeah.
no way you're going to make it in life if you don't set
Mm,
goals and take steps towards it. And this is what I see in you. I see someone who is very focused and determined.
yeah,
And
yeah.
wow. So now,
It's one
my
to know
question.
one.
Sorry? Yeah, yeah. So tell me something. So
Yeah, yeah,
let's say you're working on your program. Obviously, I can't say how long you're going to do this for because it depends with your plans. But the main question for
yes,
me is once you've reached your targets of your savings and
yeah.
everything, what do you want to do back in Sim to sustain you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I like the idea of production. I like the idea of food, and I think food is
Mhm,
important. I think that everybody should be eating a balanced diet without breaking the bank. And I think that
mhm,
the more of us combine and do the same thing, that we will be able to sustain and also export after that. Does that make sense? So definitely my heart goes into production comes to food. You know, we buy a lot of we got big seasons. You know what mango seasons are like? We get a lot of mangoes, we get a lot of lemons, we get a lot, and sometimes it's so sad you see them on the floor. And I'm thinking, why not production? We buy dried fruits from abroad
mhm,
and yet we got the right fruits at our place. Why not go to
mhm.
food production? So I would like to see, I like to play around with food production and sustainable, you know, food sources. You know, comes to snacks, healthy. You know,
Mhm.
it just depends, whatever. But typically food, 100% food.
Food. Okay. So, in other words,
Mm.
indirectly, we're saying that you're going into kind of like farming, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Right. So, with farming now, are you experienced?
yeah.
I mean, what sort of experience do you have in farming? How are you gonna make this work?
First of all, I'm a big eater. I love to eat, so that's my first experience. Yeah, and, so I grew up in a farm. I
Ah, okay.
I do grew up. I grew up in a farm. In fact, I grew up in town, but my family members also had a farm. My grandma had farms, and my grandma and my grandfather. So I always used to go to the farm. I used to find any excuse to go to the farm. I used to go to
Mhm,
boarding school, and when I think about it now,
mhm,
I found a way to go from boarding school to my house with nobody helping me. I spoke to the bus driver that I used to take, company, people that work for the company. So the
mhm.
bus would organize, the company would organize a bus to collect, the day
Mhm.
scholars from boarding school back to the town where they came from. And I managed
Right.
to talk to the driver and make a deal with him And this is as a schoolboy. This is as a schoolboy. I managed to make it deal. So I grew up in I always found a way to go back to the farm, and that's when I really did fall in love with farming. You know, farming
Mm,
without guidance, because I was never. I would help my grandma and put the seeds, the mealy seeds,
okay.
on the ground and stuff. But I was never constructive. But listen, you got ChatGPT, you got AI, you got YouTube. I watch your videos. The reason why I bumped into your videos because I was open into learning.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
100%,
mhm.
I don't think there's any boundaries when it comes to that. So yes, I'm a farmer by heart, but
Yes.
learning. Yeah.
No, I actually
Well,
like that response because sometimes we give ourselves a lot of limitations because we are
mm,
waiting to actually get certified or to be qualified in a certain thing to for us
yes.
to really take the steps forward. But like you said,
Yeah.
there's a lot of resources now, where
Yeah.
it's just a keyboard away, even a phone away, and you're on the internet
Mm,
researching. And then, you
yeah.
can just get experts along the way to just finish up the stuff that you don't know or fill in the gaps. But it's very easy to find your passion with this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now, tell me more about your channel now. I mean, what sort of comments do you get on there? And by the way, I am going to
Yeah.
link your channel in the video description below so that people can come and
Oh, thank
support you
you.
as well. That'll be really cool. Okay. So
Oh,
tell me
thank
the
you.
responses of people when they see your videos. What have you experienced so far?
Yeah, so I mean, the channel itself describes itself. So it's called Journey to Roots. So it's my journey, back to my roots. And I've always been raw and honest. There's one thing of people trying to show a life that's not reality. And I don't
Mhm,
want to ever do that. You know,
mhm,
I can secretly lie and say that I'm not living my car. And in 5 years' time or 2 years' time, when I go back home, and suddenly people wonder, how did I manage to do certain things? I want to show that process. So a lot of
mhm,
people have been very, very supportive. And it's amazing because my channel is still very small and I get to see the same people commenting. And that really touches me, you know. It touches me because I get to see these people have gone out of their way to come, and the amount of so far I've only seen positive comments. Maybe as time goes on, let's see.
mhm.
But so far, people are very supportive, and I didn't realize, but I came out on I forgot the name of the news channel in them. I don't even know. I was in the news about a homeless guy living in his car. So
Homeless
there's
guy.
only I
Wow.
don't know. No, 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 no. It was homeless YouTuber.
Wow.
Homeless Zimbabwean homeless YouTuber.
That is crazy. But one thing
So
I'd
so when
like
I
to
looked,
say, yeah, go
yes,
ahead, go ahead.
yeah. So when I looked at the comments, somebody, you are lying. Saying that the guys that made up the story, they lying about the story.
Wow,
Because
it's
I
crazy.
suppose I suppose it's
But you know what?
unbelievable sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? So right now we're having this
Yeah.
podcast. Where are you? I
Yeah.
mean, I was expecting to see you in your car. I mean, so how do you get to do your meetings or
Yeah.
yes.
So you got to be creative. Right now. I'm in Starbucks. I'm
Okay.
in Starbucks in Central London. Yeah. So I just
Nice.
because right now I work between two jobs, so I kind of position myself that by the time the podcast's done, I'm not too far from where I work. So it's just about
Wow.
trying to
Wow.
play around.
That is really awesome. Now,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know what? I often say
Yeah.
to a lot of people,
Mm.
YouTube has become now our TV. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people tune into what they really enjoy or what they really like. So, like you
Yes.
said, when I did my videos on Ruwa Organic, right? This was just me documenting my journey, similar to yours, but obviously different name. Here I am trying to relocate back home to my roots,
Yeah.
to say, right? And
Yeah.
in my head, everything was well calculated. I was like, yeah, I'll get there, my chickens, blah, 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 and things went bad. So when I was putting out my videos
Yeah.
now, I was expecting a lot of negativity. But if I tell you now
Yeah.
that the amount of
Mm.
support that's coming through,
Yeah.
ideas, solutions. I used to have this
Mm,
mindset that a lot of Zimbabweans are just really messed up. That's because of my
mm,
experiences with a lot of people.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
what my channel has taught me is there are Zimbabweans out there who are really nice
Mm,
people. Do you see what I mean?
yeah.
There are Zimbabweans out
Yeah.
there who are really nice people. And
Yeah.
even you telling me that there are some people who are, giving you some positive and supportive and all of that, it is really nice to hear.
Mm,
And I would like you to
yeah.
continue with this journey because it'll be nice to see you cross the finish line. You know what I mean? We kind of like on a similar thing
Thank
because
you.
I also have to go back
Yeah.
home and make this raw organic thing work. So seeing you cross the finish line
Yeah.
is going to be awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to that. So this is something that you should never give up, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I
So anyway,
appreciate it. And the thing is
mhm,
that,
go
yeah,
ahead.
watching your video really made me, I really resonate to watch you on your channel because I think that you are like the voice of, I felt it, but I didn't really, in the beginning, like put it out there. Like you were very raw on, you documented the time when I saw the bricks, and you could almost just scramble it up, and
Yeah.
those are things that I've experienced, and it's something that it will change because of us. We have to enlighten and talk about it and be real about it because there is hope in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans are naturally peaceful people. Zimbabwe is an amazing country. And it's so funny that when I talk to my friends from this side and they say, "Oh, is Zimbabwe safe?" I say, it's so safe. You take my car keys and I'll say, go to the shops and come back. And I know you'll come back. And so that's
Yeah.
Zimbabwe. In fact,
Yeah.
most of the time when I go to the shops in the daytime, I forget to lock my keys. I forget to lock my car in the
Yeah.
daytime. I
Mhm.
forget. I don't have fear. Then when I drive to South Africa, I get reminded, hey, what are you doing? I can't go. So you
Exactly.
said, so there is hope. There is a lot of
Mhm.
hope. And I think that's why this driving force is not by coincidence. God
Mhm.
has a purpose. And I think that we think we are making the decisions, but actually it's God that's taken us to this road.
Mhm.
And I think that
Mhm.
it's important that we do show people that, hey, yes, there is challenges, but the pros outnumber
Mhm.
the cons. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited. Yeah.
Fantastic. So,
Yes.
don't you find it difficult to be away from your family for
Yeah.
this long? I mean, how does your kids, your wife feel about it?
Wow, man. Um, Honestly speaking, it is difficult. We've never ever been separated for this long in my life. In fact, even when my wife and I were just dating, we've never been separated this long. So it
Wow.
is very tough. Um, that's why I'm in my car. It's my motivation.
Mhm.
I don't think I could have taken me this far in the car if it wasn't for them.
Mhm.
It's mind blowing that whenever I call my children, they're always on the same level of excitement and joy. And for you to have a bad day and go on to the court and still continue to have a bad day is impossible. They are my motivation. They are the reason why we need to build our country. Because when we look at them, that should be our motivation. They are the next generation. And we need
Mhm.
to create role models. We need to create children that can see get the ideas, and it should become a normal thing for them to. They don't even have to travel out of the country to see what's out of the country. That's my
Mhm.
vision. That's
Mhm.
what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So my
No, I
children
like
being in
that.
them
Mhm.
make me realize what Zimbabwe needs. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
if they're saying we want to go to the park, but there's no really a park, what does that mean? What does that say? We
Mhm.
need to create that.
Mhm.
So that's my mindset. So they are the answer. They're giving us the answers while
Mhm.
being there.
Mhm.
And that's my motivation. So when I work hard here, I'm happy that they're there because I get to hear what's needed. Does that make sense?
Fantastic.
And that's it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, you have the opportunity to
mm,
actually get a mortgage here
mm.
in the UK. That could
Yeah.
be also sort of like a backup plan, just in case
Mm,
things don't work out in Zim. Okay. Now, why
yeah.
did you not? Um, I know obviously right now you're not paying rent, but wouldn't that be
Yeah.
something that could be like a really good thing to do to have a mortgage while you're doing what you're doing? Why did you decide not to do one?
Well,
Or, in fact, I'm assuming that you don't have one. Do you have a mortgage?
no, I don't. And the reason why, this is a setup as traps. I know loads of people that would love to move back home, but it's a trap. It's something that holds you back. And it doesn't in line with the vision. If I have excess money and I'm multi-millionaire and I feel like I want to have a holiday home somewhere in the UK, maybe. But for now, it's not in my vision. I don't want to be in that trap. I don't want anything that holds me back. And I think that for me, for any Zimbabwean that is coming into the UK to work, I by all means thumbs up, but don't get yourself into a trap. That's how the bank holds a lot of people, is by telling you get a house. And by the time you get a house, yes, you can sell it. Yes, you can do all those things. But I know people right now, one of my best friends is trying to, is in a dilemma. We've got two properties. If he sells one, he loses money because now he's paying two mortgages. If he rents the other house, that's good. But a lot of tenants have a lot of um, rights that go against the one that's renting the house. So you could do that, but you end up losing a lot of money. It can take 6 months to get somebody out of a house. But in that six
Mm.
months, that can be 12,000 in London wasted. If you're paying,
Wow.
that's what I'm saying, that could be 12 grand gone in 6 months. Can you get somebody out of your house? In fact, more. I'm talking about rent wise. I'm not even talking about cost wise when it comes to. So that's the reason why I would not want to do it because a lot of this is a trap. My vision is,
Right.
yeah,
Have you also looked at, of course, right now you've mentioned the cons. Have you also looked at the pros
mm,
to make sure
mm,
that the pros are outweighing the cons? Because there are also some positives from
yeah,
on getting the mortgage. You know, because I mean,
yeah,
I did a video about it, and I mean, I think it's one of the most watched videos and the most comments
mm,
because a lot of people
mm,
had their
mm,
own sort of like views. Have you also looked at the pros
mm,
to then say, you know what?
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Mm. 100%. I think I was watching the podcast and they say don't buy a property. And it's not to say don't buy a property in England. I think buy a property when you really know what you want in life and where you will be in life. And then you can decide. I think the idea people rush into the rush of buying a house. But then in 5 years time, you realize you don't want to be in that area or you to
Hmm.
realize that that area is not suitable or that, you understand? So I think if you want to buy a house in the UK, I think that's great. And if you know where you're going to be, that's amazing. For me, I don't know yet. And I don't want to
Hmm.
put something I don't want to work hard for something that I may not be able to sustain for too long because then the bank happily
Hmm.
takes it away from me,
That's a very good
like I
answer.
said,
Yep.
yeah, I'm very narrow minded right now. It's back home. And typically, you know, uh, typically there's things, there's typically in the
Wow.
next years I like to build. I'm in place and stuff to build a place by the time I move back to them. So I'm channeling my energy for that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So far, would
Yeah.
you say that there is,
Mm.
progress? I mean, your graph is going up slowly since you started doing this. Is there progress? And are you,
100%.
oh, okay. Go into that a bit.
Yeah. I mean, the progress is I'm getting out of the deep end because, like I said, we made so much mistakes that we have spent time correcting all the mistakes that I made within the year that I lived in Europe with the families. Um, we try to fix those problems, and we've managed to get rid of those hurdles. And
Mhm.
now we are now having breathing space to now actually start doing the things that we want to do back home.
Mhm.
Themselves, we now structuring. But it took about 8 months to actually get out of the deep end with all the mistakes that we made with the
Mhm.
budgets, with the car that we bought. Imagine you buy a car. Now this guy needs this, that, that. Now he has to put a lot of, yeah.
Nah, you know what?
Understand what I'm saying?
People don't realize how difficult it is
Yeah,
to
yeah,
relocate because
yeah,
sometimes when we make plans, we make the plans
mm,
with the best case scenario. I'll give you a very good
yeah,
example. My
mm,
car right now, it needs so many things replacing. It's just crazy, right? But it's a
yeah,
car. When I sent it
yeah,
over to Zim, I was
yeah,
like, yeah, I'll be driving this car. It's gonna be easy. But now I need shocks.
mm,
I need brake pads. I need brake discs.
mm.
You know the
Injectors.
inject oh my good injectors, it's crazy. So all these things, they sort of like pull you
Yeah,
back. But you see, I'm kind of
yeah,
like you. If I don't have a
mm,
purpose, a goal, I
mm,
get bored. I need to set myself a
yeah,
big
yeah,
challenge
yeah,
and then work towards it, so that really
mm,
gets me really excited. But listen,
yeah.
Evander, I mean, thank you very much for joining the show. At least
Oh, thank you.
I've found out a bit more about you and your plan, and hopefully this is also inspiring for others that are watching this as well. And I'd also like to urge, the viewers on Ruwa Organic, please head over to Evander's channel. Give him some love, give him some support. I'll
Oh,
leave
thank
a
you.
link to that in the video description below. So, Evander, thank you very much for
Oh
joining me,
man,
and do stay in touch
thank you.
because I want to follow your journey.
100%. Thank you so much, my brother. I'm following your journey as well, and thank you. Thank you so much, man.
Awesome.
I
All
appreciate
right,
it.
take care, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
Right. Um, you can stay on.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's just make sure.